family, or maybe German to land a new job. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you'll actually use. All you need is 15 minutes a day, and you'll be on your way to confidently speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel is designed by real language experts using a modern, conversation-based technique that makes learning fun, engaging, and best of all, memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then sentences gradually get more complex. Soon you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. And with 14 languages to choose from and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll be sure to learn what matters most to you. Babbel, language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Forget about that cleaning tip you saw on Facebook and call the experts at Zero Res to give your home the instant clean it deserves this spring. Right now, mention ESPN Asheville, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $109, plus a free hallway. Book online at ZeroResAsheville.com.
Now that we're home more than ever, we need to feel safe. Call it a sign of the times or the world we now live in. What do you want to keep safe? The people in your life? What do you want to protect? Your possessions, the things that belong to you, the things that you've worked hard for. Wouldn't it be nice to have tested, trusted 24/7 protection? Peace of mind, real protection that's always there for you and your whole family? Well, now you can with one of our state-of-the-art home security systems. Everyone thinks their home is safe until the unexpected happens. Start protecting your home and loved ones today with the affordable next generation in home security. To keep your family and property safe, call 1-800-317-6096. Representatives are standing by to assist you. That's 1-800-317-6096. 1-800-317-6096.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
I'm Doug Brown. Major League Baseball finalizes a rules package for this season. Extra inning games will still include starting a runner at second base, but doubleheaders will go back to 9-inning games. Active rosters will expand from 26 to 28 players for the first and last months of the season. And now with DHs in both leagues, starting pitchers who also DH can stay in the game after leaving the mound, the so-called Shohei Ohtani rule. Now that Todd Bowles is the new head coach of the Buccaneers, how will that affect quarterback Tom Brady? ESPN's Teddy Bruschi.
The way that Tom Brady prefers is the structured disciplinarian type of approach, not maybe over the top that it was maybe in New England, but just more of a structured disciplinarian approach that possibly and most definitely Todd Bowles can probably do a little bit more structured than Bruce Arians.
Teddy Bruschi on Key J and Max. Kansas State guard Nigel Pack enters the transfer portal. Pack led the Wildcats in scoring at 17 points a game this season.
How would you love a chance to save some money on car insurance? Geico can help. Switch today and see all the ways you could save with great rates and discounts. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com to get a rate quote and get started seeing how much you could save.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, 2 men, 1 journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit. Let's go! Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings.
And a welcome into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. You can see us everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com. Click on that live video link. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get into the chat. We will be talking all things Final Four today. We got Jones Angell, voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, coming up with us at the 4 o'clock hour like he does every Thursday for our Tar Heel time. He will be live at the Superdome in New Orleans, from what I understand, and we'll talk about the magnitude that is going to be the Duke-Carolina matchup in the Final Four. And then my NFL football team hit the news wires last night as it was announced that Bruce Arians will be stepping down as the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Todd Bowles is the new choice, so it's perfect that we have a Tampa Bay fan, we have a New York Jets fan.
Oh, yeah, I've ridden this ride. And let me go ahead and tell you, it's like a lot of roller coasters. It starts exciting. It ends abruptly.
Right.
And I find it funny that you actually believe everything coming out of Bruce Arians' mouth.
Let's just put it this way. Jeremy, you and I are very different people. I am not.
I'm a realist, and you yell at clouds and
believe
birds are real.
Realist, I don't. You are. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Skeptical?
You're too much of a skeptic. You think everything has to have its underlying reasons to it. Sometimes there's just coincidence in sports.
No, I don't believe in coincidence. That doesn't exist.
It does exist.
When you hear hoofbeats, it makes a lot more sense to assume horses than zebras. And currently, you are trying to sell me on a flock of zebras. And I don't believe it, even not nary a little bit.
No, not a flock of zebras. I just, I don't believe that everything has to have this nefarious undertone to it.
Okay, then explain it to me.
Explain.
Bruce just sitting around his house one day and goes, "Nope, you think I'm? You know what? I think I'm done. I think I don't want to do this anymore."
Look, Bruce Arians.
Or maybe you believe the most absolute disingenuous thing I have ever heard somebody say out loud.
What?
The succession really matters to me. I wanted to make sure that Todd had a chance to win as opposed to taking over a crappy team. Those were his words, not mine. I do not even kind of believe you.
Why not?
So you're telling me these are all of the things that you're going to try to make me believe. Within the last 3 weeks, Bruce has been talking about how excited he was for a rebuild. No problem there with no Tom. And then Tom flies to London and meets with the Glazers at a Manchester United football game because they own Manchester United. Nobody knows what they talked about. Nobody has a clue. Then Tom comes back and I changed my mind. I'm not retiring anymore.
Yep.
And not even a month later, Bruce Arians goes, "I'm out."
Yep.
And you do not think those things are connected?
Not in the way that you do.
Okay. What is the connection to you?
You correct me if I'm wrong or not, but in your mind, you believe that Tom was only coming back if Bruce Arians was not the head coach. He went to England to go to the game with the sole purpose of telling the ownership, "That's the only way I will come back." Then why would they not have announced it beforehand?
Because you can't put it on Tom. You wait just a little while, let Tom have his reign, and we're all good. Everybody's coming back. But there's just one thing. We're going to have a different coach. And it's not going to be the one that Tom had problems with. This is one of the worst kept secrets in the NFL. I'll put it this way. We recorded a mock draft for the Buccaneers yesterday. In that video, I said, before any of this was ever stated, Todd Bowles is going to be the next head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it's going to happen at the end of this year.
Yes, you did.
I missed it by 365 days.
He did. That was the first time I had heard you say that. I had heard anybody say that it was coming. Because we have not been looking that far ahead. It's all been about Tom and the return of Tom Brady and how is this how is this team going to be put together. And then you said that, and not 2 hours later, it felt like we got the alert.
Well, I'll be
Bruce
honest
Arians
with you.
is done.
The talk around the league had gotten confusing. And if I've learned anything in doing this, it's when I can't draw a line from point A to point B, it means somebody's not telling me something. There was no doubt to me. Bruce Arians, this was the swan song. He had said it a couple times. It was really obvious. But he hadn't said a word about it since Tom came back.
Right.
That's weird. Then the rumbling started of what happened last year between Brady and Arians and Leftwich. And the premise of that, I wasn't in the room. I can just tell you what I've been told. What I was told is that Tom and Byron Leftwich would basically put the offensive game plan together.
Yes.
No involvement from Bruce Arians. He didn't have anything to do with it. And then around Thursday, Friday, Bruce would just come in and cut it to shreds.
Yep.
And it was driving Tom crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason he walked away.
Mm-hmm.
None of that is new information to me.
No, it's not.
What is new is what changed. Something had to change. People like Tom Brady don't just willy-nilly go, I'm out. Greatest competitor that probably to ever live doesn't just go, I'm out, and then change their mind 40 days later.
Mm-hmm.
Even Michael Jordan took 2 years before he went, Dell, I boo-boo kiddied this. And I've seen all the memes of he spent 40 days with his children and went, it's a lot better getting hit by defensive ends. That's funny. It's also not true.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere there is something that happened that changed his mind. Did you notice that neither Todd Bowles nor Byron Leftwich really put a lot of energy into getting another job? They were all discussed. Mm-hmm. The Raiders were interested in Todd Bowles. I know that for a fact.
Well, I mean, Byron Leftwich, he went all the way to accepting the job before he turned it around.
But what happened? If you remember,
Jacksonville
when that
didn't
happened,
get rid of Trent Baalke. That's why he not took that job.
That's not it. I'm
really?
Telling you right now, that's not it.
Okay.
Because there was something weird about that story the entire time. We talked about it on this show. Mm-hmm. I cannot figure out what's taking Jacksonville so long. Because Jacksonville was all in.
Mm-hmm.
So what changed? We thought it was, it's Trent Baalke. That's a really convenient excuse. You interviewed for this job knowing he was there. I don't believe in coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
He knew Baalke was there. And then the Baalke, he's not real fun to be around, blah, 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 blah. It's a real convenient excuse. Because what I think was happening is behind closed doors, there was some Tom and Byron talking
mm-hmm.
of Todd's going to get this job eventually. Maybe it could be now.
Mm-hmm.
And as time went on, Tom went, I'm not done, but I'm not playing for him. And now we're here.
Okay.
And it makes all of the sense in the world to me. And the fact that you do not think these things are affiliated with each other is comical to me.
I think I mean, obviously they are affiliated with each other, but I don't see this as I don't believe that it was as cut and dry as you say. Tom Brady had, he had never been to a soccer match before. He needed to talk to the Buccaneers because he was thinking about whether or not he was gonna unretire or not. He gets the invite to go over to Man United and go to the game. He does that, sits in the box. And were there discussions about the future of this team? Absolutely.
He doesn't care about the future of this team. This is like his retirement
party. He does if he's
going
to be on it.
Let me finish. This is like his retirement party. All right, this is the guy with infinite options. He could have ridden off into the sunset and nobody would have thought a second thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he not? Because something changed. And it's not his children. It's not his wife. It's none of those. It's not the competitive balance. He knew exactly how he was going to feel. Nothing happened. It would be one thing if he changed his mind in training camp. He changed his mind 3 weeks after he said this the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So there was something drastic. And the only drastic thing that could change is I've already done this once. I've dealt with the guy that I wish I could buy for what he's worth and sell for what he thinks he's worth. His name was Bill Belichick, and that wore really thin with me.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have another guy that's doing this with the offense. Even with Bill would cede a lot of things to Josh McDaniels. That's always how Tom has worked, is whoever it is that's dealing directly with me, he and I do this. It's my game plan. I'm the guy. And it's weird to me that the rumor started floating out there, and within just a couple days, now Bruce Arians is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure those two things had nothing to do with each other.
I'm not saying they're unrelated. I'm just saying I don't think that it was the power play that you think it was.
And I'll bet you anything you want that it was.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never know it.
No.
That will never come out.
No.
But it makes all of this make sense. The Arians relationship was always weird. And look, Bruce Arians is a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
You look at him historically, he is not going to be remembered as favorably as he should be. He's a good head coach in this league.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I make jokes because he looks like Bryson DeChambeau's dad, and he's a bit of a goofball. He's still a good coach.
Yeah.
If you're Tom Brady, I don't think you want to deal with that. And that leads into why is it Todd Bowles?
You don't want to deal with
I don't want to deal with the guy that Bruce Arians has been in this league since just before Tom Brady was born.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in the league for over 40 years. He wants to do things his way. Well, Tom doesn't want to do that. Tom wants to do it his way. And I fully believe, and I find the irony in Rob Johnson in our comments said Bruce Arians is the reason that the Rams beat the Bucks. I agree with you, and I think Tom agrees with you. If I'm going to come back at 46 years old and take the beating and put my body through this, there's not going to be any impediment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be Bill. It's not going to be Bruce. It's not going to be anybody. So I'll take Todd Bowles, who I can run over like a dump truck. And look, I have no issue with Todd Bowles. I don't want him as my head coach.
Right.
And I think you're going to greatly figure out why. Todd Bowles has this look on his face. It's what I've always assumed dogs look like when you call your answering machine and you're not there and they hear your voice but they can't see you.
Mm-hmm.
He spends probably 46 of 60 minutes with that look on his face.
But is that because of the situation he was in New York?
I love how everybody treats the Jets like they're the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they're just not.
Oh, 100% they are.
No,
they're much
they're
closer
not
to the Jacksonville Jaguars than they are.
If you're about to say New England, you're right.
To
I would
the
say
Kansas City Chiefs are a good team
historically,
in the NFL.
no, they're not. Historically, no, they're not. Take Andy Reid out of Kansas City and take the last 10 years out of the Jets, and the Jets are a better franchise. It's really not even all that close.
Mm-hmm.
One has a much better owner. But this thought process of, Todd Bowles had no ability to win. No, Todd Bowles was kind of difficult to deal with and was really unwilling to listen to other people's ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Todd Bowles came in like, I'm a defensive savant. Well, unfortunately, your defense got run through like a hot knife through butter, and I got news for you. It was not personnel.
Right.
That team was 10-6 when he got there, got worse every single year.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I'm sure that's on the ownership. They're still recovering from some of the things Todd Bowles did.
Okay.
But there's one thing about Todd that Bruce Arians will never be. Todd Bowles has no interest in the offense.
Mm-hmm.
That is Byron Leftwich. That's all Byron.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what Tom wants. Tom's comfortable with Byron Leftwich, and you don't want him to be the head coach.
Yeah.
You don't want a first-time head coach to have to deal with this. It's the perfect scenario. You get a guy that understands what it's like to be the CEO of the organization. He can come in, deal with all the things, and Byron handles the offense. All I have to do is be Tom Brady, and Todd will handle the defense. And I don't have to deal with weeks' worth of work that the head coach comes in here and cuts through like a weed eater.
Yeah, that had been going around since the first few weeks that Tom Brady was in Tampa Bay. That he and Byron Leftwich would get together and go through the game plan of this is how it needs to go. And then Bruce would come in and say, no, I don't want to do that. This is the part of the game plan that we're going to take out. We need to add this because this is what I want to do. I understand all of that. I just think there's some truth on both sides of Bruce Arians. Of Bruce Arians talking about the legacy of this team and leaving it in good hands for Todd Bowles. Well, of course that plays because he has a long-running relationship with Todd Bowles. Exactly. Todd Bowles played for him at Temple. He was an assistant with him in Arizona. Then he goes to New York and obviously failed miserably up in New York, and then he came back on Bruce Arians' staff. So Bruce Arians wasn't going to leave him with, like he said, a crappy team.
All right, do me a favor.
Now,
name me a guy that's ever walked away from a Super Bowl winning team because he was so attached to his assistant. I'll wait.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hear that list? Because I'll give it to you. Would you like to hear it again?
Was he 68 years old and already thinking about retirement and all of that?
And that changed at the end of March after you brought everybody back. Do you even remember a time that somebody left a team in this time window? I've seen it happen closer to the season. Mm-hmm. You go through training camp and you go, you know what? This is terrible, and I don't want to do it. There's nothing happening right now that is taxing on Bruce Arians. There's nothing that should have changed your mind.
Mm-hmm.
If at the end of the year you were done with it, you walk away. Unless you're trying to leverage the organization into hiring Todd Bowles, which I think they were going to do anyway. I would be dumbfounded if this had gone to anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he had walked away the day after the season ended. It's still Todd Bowles. That's the right call. So none of these other things make sense. So for everything I've said here to not be accurate, you're going to have to make me believe something that is hyper coincidental. And I don't buy it.
I know you don't buy it. You don't believe in coincidences.
And you can call me cynical all you want to. I also know Tom Brady infinitely better than you do because I watched him haunt my nightmares for 21 years in the same division.
I think the truer statement there would be you hate Tom Brady so much that it has to be some evil narrative behind all of this. It's not an evil narrative.
I'll be honest with you. I agree with Tom. And that pains me to say out loud. Mm-hmm. I agree with Tom, and I have for quite some time. I'm not saying this is an evil narrative. I would do the exact same thing.
You would have done the exact same thing.
If I'm Tom and I'm coming back for a right off into the sunset season, because now there's no fooling anybody. You've already retired once. You're not making me believe that you're going to do this 2 more times.
No, yeah, he's absolutely done.
This is the swan song. So now you're going to live your Coach K year. Do I want to do that with somebody that drove me absolutely crazy last year? No. And there's no that's not a rumor. That's not that's the way it is. Any person around Tampa Bay has said their relationship was weird.
Mm-hmm. It was rocky from the start. They had their ups and downs. I mean, remember when things were going poorly in the Super Bowl year? And by poorly, they were, 7-5?
Something like that.
Before they went on their late run and didn't lose another game until they won the Super Bowl. But all of the talk was they can't get together on the same page. It's Bruce Arians and Tom Brady. Bruce Arians wants to play the no risk it, no biscuit game, and Tom Brady is more Tom. Of the cerebral, pick them apart, dink and dunk kind of a thing. That was always talked about until things started going well. And then we all kind of forgot about it when they made the run through the playoffs and won the Super Bowl. And then you had the run it back thing last year. And then everything toward the end of the season started to fall apart. Things got rocky again. Things got a little more tumultuous. You had the Antonio Brown thing happen.
And I think that plays a role in this as well.
I think it all does. Because
to me, it's just an accumulation.
I do think that rubbed Tom the wrong way. Because Tom and Antonio were friends and they were keeping everything steady. And then the thing that tripped Antonio Brown into doing what he did in New York was when Bruce Arians came over all heavy-handed and was just like, get the F out of here.
Bruce is a brash, abrasive person. Mm-hmm. And I'm just looking at this from personal experience. When you have options, and Tom has limitless options. Now, I'm going to level with you. I don't buy the San Francisco 49er thing. I never did. I don't buy the Miami Dolphin thing. I never did. Mm-hmm. But I do have to go back to a question I ask a lot. Who wants you to know that? It all ties back to Tom.
Yeah.
Every single bit of this ties back to Tom. And I think he's had his fill of the abrasive coach, and he wants to go out on his own terms.
Maybe so.
And that is something that Todd Bowles will allow him to do.
Maybe so. Is Todd Bowles the right answer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? As Jeremy said, was this the right call to make? I'm not so sure of that, but I'll let the guy with more experience with Todd Bowles than me explain his point up next.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, the big weather has pushed on east of Asheville, and now a cold front zips on in here with winds becoming west and northwest. Our low tonight down to 40 degrees. Humidity drops off big time into Friday. Partly cloudy, cooler for Friday and for early April. High temps in the mid-50s on Friday, low Friday night near freezing. And then partly cloudy Saturday with a high of 60. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Mucinex 12-Hour. When you have cough and chest congestion, you need a medicine that's effective and long-lasting. Mucinex DM's bilayer tablet allows for immediate and extended release, relieving both wet and dry coughs and loosening chest congestion for 12 long hours. Grab Mucinex DM, available at Walgreens.
Spring break is here, and summer will be here before you know it, so now's the time to start planning your next great adventure. But before you do, check out podguides.com from iHeartRadio. Podguides.com is your chance to explore the world through audio with an interactive map that's pinned with podcast episodes that serve as your local guide. Podcasts to help with what to see, what to eat, what to avoid, and more. Of laugh out loud comedy podcasts for you to binge anytime, anywhere. Stop laughing, that was serious.
iHeartRadio. I had a lady that was in her mid-70s, and I'd sold her timeshare, and that was the lowest I'd ever felt in my life. I knew then that I had to do something to simply not to go to hell for selling timeshare.
Chuck McDowell founded Wesley Financial Group to help folks cancel their timeshares permanently.
Called her and everybody that I'd sold timeshare to, and I said, this is what I said to you that was a lie, and this is what you need to do to cancel your timeshare. From that point, people started referring friends to me to help them cancel a timeshare, and that's how it all started. I fought the world's largest timeshare company in federal court. If I had lost that lawsuit, there would be no one helping people that have been lied to when they bought timeshare. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare contract or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley Financial Group now for a free information kit. 800-990-3434. That's 800-990-3434. 800-990-3434.
The Food City Dirt Race is back at Bristol in 2022. And this time, it's a night race. 7 p.m. on Easter Sunday, April 17th. Save big by grabbing a weekend package today at BristolMotorspeedway.com.
It's Bristol, baby!
Everyone has a style, and Macy's is here to help you own yours. Get an extra 30% off the best brands and top designers with your coupon or Macy's card. Plus 15% off Spring's go-to beauty, skincare, and fragrances. And Macy's Star Rewards members can earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. Sign up today at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off regular, sale, and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
The underdog. The long shot. The nobody from nowhere, never gonna happen, 100 to 1 shot. We know something about that. We're with you every step of the way.
This week at Ingles, select 6 to 12 count Laurel and Cuddly soft bath tissue, $3.98 each. Select sizes and varieties Kellogg's Frosted Flakes or Fruit Loop cereal, 2 for $4. And select sizes and varieties Tide laundry detergent, $12.98 each. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news? Who's gonna break the news?
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville. We got breaking news in the NFL, Mr. Flostradamus.
This is from Adam Schefter. The Los Angeles Rams have added Bobby Wagner.
Wow.
Who's 31, will be 32 in June years old, to a 5-year, $50 million deal with incentives that could push it up to $65 million.
5 years, $50 million, possibly worth $65 million for Bobby Wagner to switch teams in the division. Goes from the Seattle Seahawks to the Los Angeles Rams, and damn, that defense is stout.
Yeah. Yeah, I would not want to be in the – I mean, look, the NFC, we talked about this ad nauseum. The NFC is not very deep. I would love to know what the live odds are on the Rams to win the conference. Because if they're anything less than minus 250, it's a steal. Because I don't see who's going to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Every team in that conference has gotten worse, except now the Rams.
Yeah, except for the Rams,
who I could argue have gotten better.
And they still have room to get better, right?
Oh, not a ton, but. You got a little space, and you're going to add Odell, but you're still going to add Odell Beckham.
That's what I was going to say. Last I heard, they were still on the verge of re-signing Odell Beckham Jr. And wow. Whew. So the LA Rams they're planting their flag. We've got this.
Well, I mean, this is what happens when you go blank them picks like Les Snead just continuously does. And I'll be honest with you, he's still adding players through the draft. He does it every single year.
Mm-hmm.
Because now, here's and look, I'm gonna try to not wax poetic about the Rams because they're basically making everything I do completely invalid. They added a linebacker that's now last year in the draft named Ernest Jones that I absolutely love, and now he's going to learn beside Bobby Wagner.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's going to be just fine.
I would say that's a marked upgrade over Troy Reeder.
The Rams are plus 450 to win the NFC. I'm going to need you to take this over for a minute.
He needs me to tap dance for a minute while he places some wagers.
I need to go to betus.com and put all the doll hairs on the LA Rams before that number gets drastically smaller.
And you can do the same. Just be sure to use the promo code Sportsocracy at betus.com. Get that 125% deposit bonus on whatever you put in, up to $2,500. So, yeah, Bobby Wagner goes to the Los Angeles Rams, and now you are staring at a defense that, I mean, it gets better and better. And that's the thing, like, after they lost Sebastian Joseph Day and Austin Johnson, and it's fine. We'll be okay. You still got Ashawn Robinson and Aaron Donald on the defensive line. As you mentioned, Ernest Jones and Bobby Wagner now teaming up on the middle of that linebacker core. You got Leonard Floyd coming off the edge. And then, of course, I haven't even mentioned the secondary with Jalen Ramsey. So,
and I'll go one step further. The Rams are plus 500 on Betis.
Go do it now. Just do yourself a favor.
They're not even the favorite to win the NFC.
Oh, is it Green Bay still?
No.
Or is it Tampa?
It's Tampa.
Yeah.
By quite a ways, actually.
Interesting.
That just proves that Vegas sits around and goes, hey, look what we can get people to do. They have Tom Brady. They'll do this, I promise.
Yeah.
Wow. That Rams team is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Because the funniest part of the LA Rams to me is that nobody even talks about Allen Robinson. You turned Robert Woods into Allen Robinson. That's a step up, by the way.
Yep.
Good. That's a squad. That's a team that you're not allowed to play with on Madden next year.
You got a healthy Cam Akers in the backfield. You got Matthew Stafford now feeling at home after a contract extension, and he's got Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, possibly Odell Beckham Jr. to throw to. It's going to be another giant uphill battle for everybody in the NFC to take down the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams after they added today Bobby Wagner, again, a 5-year deal, $50 million. Incentives could push it to $65. And it's not a bad deal either. I mean, $10 million a year for Bobby Wagner is an incredible,
it's a reasonable deal.
I would say it's an incredible value
Not
now.
really.
And then you look down the road, you could swallow that, a 36-year-old linebacker for $10
It's not
mil.
really a value. Because you got to understand, off-ball linebacker is not exactly valued in this league.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the number one player in this draft is Kyle Hamilton, and he's going to fall out of the top 10 because people are afraid he's going to have to play off-ball linebacker.
Right.
So, I mean, he's expensive at the position, but for what he brings, that's a great deal for the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you can get out of it comfortably. The thing that made my face drop, if you're watching us live on YouTube right now, what would you say the current line for the Rams to win the NFC West was?
Oh, I would have to imagine.
I would have had it at minus 500 easily.
Minus 175.
It's plus 150.
Really?
They're right in front of San Francisco and Arizona.
Which is ridiculous.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That is free money. I don't look. You remember when I said this about Xavier? Of sometimes Vegas gets lines wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's wrong. You can believe in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers until the cows come home. There's not a team in this division that can stay within 3 games of them. They just can't.
Right.
You got San Francisco with a rookie quarterback, and Arizona with a quarterback that looks like he's 12 years old. Rams.
Big day. Big day for the LA Rams. We'll talk about Todd Bowles in just a second, making his next stint as a head coach in the NFL. Let's get just a bit outside first.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
All right, we're going to play a little bit of a let's make a deal. What's behind the curtain? Jeremy, I'm going to give you your choice. Do you want the story that's behind curtain number 1 or the story that's behind curtain number 2?
Whichever one's funnier.
Whichever one's funnier?
Yeah.
I don't think either one of them are really funny, and both of them are probably going to tick you off because we're tired of talking about both of these dudes, but they're both in the news today.
Is either one about somebody whose last name is Ryan?
No.
Okay, then I officially don't care.
No.
Whichever one.
Antonio Brown. He's back in the news after he says that he's going to wait until a team signs him before he gets the ankle surgery that he needs. Wait? What? So you're sitting on the sidelines waiting for a team to come give you a contract offer, but you say you're not going to take care of yourself before that? That, to me, sounds like the dumbest thing on the planet.
That's all about insurance.
Oh, I know. I understand the nuts and the bolts of it. I want to have a new team, have the team doctor be the one to do the surgery or, make the refer me for the surgery or whatever. I understand that, but from his standpoint, and how do you pitch this to teams if you ever did get a team that was interested?
I don't think it would matter because I don't see a team being interested regardless.
I don't either. After what he did with Tampa Bay, walking off the field the way he did, I felt like that bridge had been burned with every team in the NFL. But there are still some that say that's a possibility. That, some team will take a shot on Antonio Brown. I really don't think that's going to happen. If you're in that situation, and of course I'm expecting a sane result from an insane person. But if you're trying to get teams on board, why? Why would you tell, but I'm hurt and you're going to have to wait for me to get surgery? It's not really the recipe for success.
Speaking of not a recipe for success, your Georgia Bulldogs may be the reigning national champions, but today they took an L in the shape of a former rival. In a sit-down with Will Compton and Titans offensive lineman Taylor Lewan on their podcast, Bussin' with the Boys, which, by the way, rather funny. Not the first time that this particular webcast has been in the news. They sat down with former Florida Gator running back and Jacksonville Jaguar Fred Taylor.
Okay.
And he disclosed to them what went into his recruitment. They started talking about NIL deals and how things are different now in college athletics. To which they then talked about a long-standing rumor about Fred Taylor, that one day he opened his front door and there was a duffel bag full of between $30,000 and $50,000 from Georgia that he took and then immediately committed to Florida. Not only did he confirm it, he went a step further. He said, well, it wasn't a duffel bag.
Yeah.
To which both guys began to laugh. Then they started trying to gauge, well, how much was it? It was $130, $150. And I quote, it was up there. It was closer to 50 when pushed upon the number. He said, those were the days. I would just go over to this guy's place and say, hey, I'm in West Palm visiting my mom. Every time I'd go over there, $1,000, $1,500, $3,000. Every time I went over there, and I went over there 3 or 4 times before I committed.
Oh, I'd go there a bunch.
I would have gone there every day.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence. That's great.
That's hilarious.
It's a new world that we live in now. Nobody cares.
It's not Eric Dickerson funny. Eric Dickerson has the greatest recruiting story you'll ever hear in your life. With the Trans A&M, or the Trans A&M.
Yeah.
Of Texas A&M gave him a Trans Am. He took the keys and drove it to SMU to sign his letter and then went, what are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
Are you going to tell someone?
That's just smart business right there.
100%.
I mean, again, just further confirmation of what we have always known about college sports. It's been happening forever. And no one can ever, it's like you can stand here, NCAA, and say, no, it doesn't happen. Yeah, it does.
It's kind of like you standing here and saying, nope, Tom had nothing to do with it. Bruce is just sleepy.
I never said that. Never said
Bruce needs a nap.
Never said Tom had nothing to do with it. I just don't necessarily believe that there was an ultimatum given.
Oh, I fully believe there's an ultimatum.
I know you do.
If I have to deal with old driving cap again, I will stay at home with my supermodel wife.
Hey, I don't care. Whatever it takes. We already got what we needed out of Bruce Arians. So whatever it takes to be competitive for one more year, it's what's next that worries me.
Well, it should.
How Todd Bowles is the guy that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise looked at and went, yep, that's the guy. That's the guy that we want to give the job to. And I know Bruce had a lot to do with that.
Very much he did.
Of course he did. He had this all set up. He said today that he's been thinking for 2 years now about retiring. He thought about it after the Super Bowl of maybe I should go out on top. He didn't. He came back and said, well, what the hell, we'll run it back. And now he's stepping down. He's not the head coach anymore. He is still there, though. He's going to be in the front office. He's going to be involved in player development decisions.
Yeah, he's
and all
doing
of
the
that.
George Costanza thing. He's the assistant to the traveling secretary.
He's going to be working in tandem with Jason Light as they are trying to continue to build this team for the future. So it's not like he's not going to be there anymore. He's just not going to be on the sidelines, and it'll be a little bit of a different head coaching philosophy around the locker room.
Yeah, here's what you should be very, very wary of.
Okay.
Todd Bowles has been in the NFL as either a head coach or a defensive coordinator since 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what every one of his defenses have in common? This is one of the most mind-boggling stats I have ever heard in my life.
I'm going to guess they give up the most yards in the middle of the field than anybody.
Nope. They do one of two things.
Okay.
They either finish in the top 10 of points allowed or the bottom 7.
Okay.
There is no in between. He has been 9th or better, 25th or worse.
Nice.
Every single year. And that makes me really nervous. And the thing that would make me more nervous, he's never had a team where it went up. He never started at 29 and went to 9.
Mm-hmm.
He usually started at 9 and wound up at 29.
Right.
And I'm going to level. I look at this team, and this is a good team.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa Bay's a good team, especially in the NFC. But are they great? What are they great at? Because I don't think
passing the ball. I mean, Tom Brady is great.
Okay, let me rephrase that.
You have great
Name me
receivers.
something that's not affiliated with Tom Brady that they're great at.
Ooh. I mean, I would say they're great at stopping the run. They got that.
But that's more because teams throw on them.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
maybe.
by the way, my Jets
also
teams with Todd Bowles could say the same thing.
It also had a lot to do with the big guys that you had in the middle of that defense. You've got young stars as well. It's, okay. I would say that's the best thing that we do great on defense.
I just look at this. All right, I'll go a different direction. Tampa Bay to me is the second best team in the NFC.
Okay, I would agree with that.
Where would they fall in the AFC?
AFC, they'd be about 4.
That's a weird way to
5?
say 7, but okay.
7.
Mm-hmm. I would still take the Buffalo Bills over them.
Mm-hmm.
I would take the Baltimore Ravens over them. Healthy. Okay. I think the training facility is built on an old ancient Indian burial ground or something, and everybody gets hurt every year.
Right.
I would take Cleveland with Deshaun Watson over them.
Okay.
I would take Cincinnati.
Okay.
And then I would take 3 teams out of all 3 teams in the AFC West, not named the Denver Broncos. And the Broncos would be right below them.
So the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
I would disagree on 2 of those, but okay.
Which 2 that I just – all right, the Raider hate, I already know.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
The Chiefs. We're better than the Chiefs right now.
You are – I'm going to ask you for this for the – did you get drunk before you walked in here? That is the second time this week you have said something so absolutely ridiculous.
Why don't you think they're better? We have better weapons than they do.
Okay. Who has a better quarterback?
Well, I mean,
Kansas
we
City.
do.
No.
Proved it.
No, you did.
Several times.
You did 10 years ago. Now he's 46 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Who has the better –
Who just beat that other quarterback in the Super Bowl.
If you don't think,
to Mr. Jeremy Greene, who believes everything hinges on the importance is on winning a Super Bowl.
You say that like it was Brady that won it and not the fact that your defense beat his brains out. And they immediately went, oh, we can fix that.
Mm-hmm.
And they did. They just came up against Joe Burrow, who was I still don't really have a way of quantifying that, so I'm just going to roll on past it. I don't really know how that happened. I enjoyed it when it happened, but
okay.
The hatred on the Chiefs is comical.
It's
to me.
not. It's not hatred. It's just
if you think you're
this
better
team's
than
a
the
little
Chiefs,
better than that one
because you lost 1 5'7" receiver. Okay, yeah, I'll take Kansas City all day long and twice on Sunday, and wouldn't think about it twice.
Right.
You get Todd Bowles, I get Andy Reid.
Mm-hmm.
Advantage aggressively me.
Oh sure. In the head coaching battle, yeah, absolutely.
I would be leery if I was Tampa Bay of – I think Bruce Arians was more relevant than people think. Now you're entrusting this to Byron Leftwich. And I like Byron Leftwich. I think he's going to be a head coach in this league. And I said in this last hiring cycle, he should have been a head coach this time.
Yes.
I now understand why he's not.
Why?
I don't think this struck people as out of left field as it did the rest of us in the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did he necessarily think it was going to happen right now? Maybe not. He knew it was coming soon.
Yeah. I just don't think Todd Bowles was the choice here. To me, the choice was Byron Leftwich. He's younger. He's got a higher ceiling, we believe. Now, when it comes to respect in the building,
Todd Bowles has the respect. This is what you had to do with a team that's built to win.
I know.
You're not doing this with a first-time head coach.
Yeah. I mean, Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady have been thick as thieves since they got there. I mean, remember the story the first day? The first day when Tom Brady goes down and he knocked on the wrong door in the neighborhood because he was trying to get to Byron Leftwich's house. I mean, they have been thick as thieves since he got to town. And I understand why they didn't want, Tom wouldn't want Bruce Arians messing with the thing that him and Byron have. I get that. I just feel like Todd Bowles doesn't have a track record of success in this league. So why would you give him the opportunity when you know you're going to lose Byron Leftwich? And maybe Byron didn't want it. Maybe Byron.
No, I don't buy that.
I
think this is all Tom. I want the CEO to run the team, and I want it to be somebody that's been there before.
Okay.
The guy that's making the decisions, I want it to be somebody that has made these decisions in the past, and that's Todd Bowles.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, these teams that are built for very short windows, and I got news for you. When Tom takes off, this is going to be one of the worst jobs in the league. You want a vet guy.
Mm-hmm.
You laughed at that.
I do.
With Kyle Trask, this team is bad.
I mean, the quarterback position will be bad. The rest of the team will be fine. And it'll
Name me a team with a bad quarterback that's been good in the last 10 years.
I think Cleveland Browns made the playoffs. You can never take that away from them.
You would pine for Baker Mayfield based on what you have sitting behind Tom Brady right now.
And I don't think that's going to be the option.
I almost hope Tom, has to miss a week. I don't want him to get – I never root for anybody to get hurt no matter whether even if it's Natas himself, Tom Brady, I still will not root for him to get hurt.
But again, you assume that there's no option.
But maybe he gets lost on the way to the stadium. Just so you can see, for 1 week, I want you to see what it is that you have coming. Maybe to humble you up a little bit.
Oh, I don't believe that Kyle Trask is going to be the next great quarterback in this league. I don't. But I also don't think that they're going to – if we know that, then they know that. Why do you think Tom came back so easily? I don't think
because they told Bruce
because
Arians
they promised that Bruce Arians wasn't going to be there. No. Tom still wants to play, and he came back. And he's going to be gone next year. I mean, hell, his brother-in-law's already said so. Kevin Youkilis is his brother-in-law, former Boston Red Sox.
How did I not know that?
Kevin Youkilis is married to one of Tom Brady's older sisters, and he was on WEEI yesterday and said he's done. Like, he wanted to be done this year, but he still had that competitive itch, and so he came back. But this is it. This is the last thing we're going to see from Tom Brady. He believes. Now, could Tom Brady fill out his contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and then decide he wants to go play for somebody else, whether it be, it's not going to be San Francisco because they already got their quarterback. They will be a year into the Trey Lance experiment, and unless it goes completely off the rails, they won't even think about bringing him in. He could go play somewhere else, but his family doubts it at this point.
Oh, no, this is the last ride.
Yeah, this is the last ride.
And if you think this year was insufferable with Tom Brady, just wait till next year.
But I love that you assume that they're going to stick with the bad quarterback.
They think it's comical how little you understand how badly they're kicking the salary cap can down the road.
Mm-hmm. And they'll continue to do it as long as they possibly can.
When Tom goes away, that's when it stops.
You can't
do you realize how much of a dead cap hit they will carry on him by himself when this is done? Because see, that's the fun little thing that nobody talked about here. When you carried Tom, and now that dead cap hit goes away, you kick that to next year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you also add all the dead cap off that onto next year. Well, you also add all the dead cap off that onto next year. It's $24 million, I think, which is everything that the cap is going to swell.
Right.
Plus you have 5 guys that are in the top 10 of highest paid of their position. Yeah, there's no saving that. The Deshaun Watson thing was cute. There was nothing you could do to make that work.
I agree with you.
And I could also argue that that's a real convenient way to get away from this Todd Bowles thing about 2-3 years from now. Todd, it was fun. We had fun with Tom. And since then, it has been brutal.
But to me, that's kind of my point of, that's what, you're setting yourself up for that. That's a real possibility with Todd Bowles at the head of this thing. Maybe Byron didn't want it. I don't know. Maybe they thought just because Todd Bowles has been in the league so long and, Bruce is sticking around in the front office, he was never going to stand for that. Maybe this is the only way that was going to go down. Tom didn't want Bruce to be the head coach anymore. And so he said, maybe it's time that we nudge him along. Give him a spot in the front office. We'll give the job to Todd. Me and Byron get to work unfettered by Bruce Arians anymore, and we move on. I just think this is a bad deal for the Bucks. I really do. Because after this year, now you're going to be relying on the guy who won 4 games in New York to rebuild your team or to lead a rebuilt team.
You're right. He did win 4 games. He also won 5 games. Twice. His last 3 years in New York.
At one point. His first year.
That was the first year when he took over a pretty good team. And then he went 5-11, 5-11, 4-12.
Yep.
You are what your record says you are.
His Tampa Bay career is going to look strikingly similar. Green on Green picks of the night coming up next right here on ESPN Asheville.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at RogueCombatClub.com.
Professional women's tennis is coming back to the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville on April 15th and 16th for qualifying tie between the United States and Ukraine. Don't miss Team USA as they go head-to-head in this exciting matchup for a spot in the 2022 finals. Tickets are on sale now at USTA.com/BJKC to buy tickets and see some of the top women's tennis players in the world April 15th and 16th. Player subject to change.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour, barely keeping up. But to cruise through challenges, you need someone who's right there with you. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PCs and tech advice you need to get past whatever's in front of you and get where you want to go. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
Try great tasting Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and nutrients to support immune health. Those who tried Ensure Max Protein reported feeling more energy in just 2 weeks. For more information, including consumer survey details, please visit Ensure.com.
It's time to spread game. The Harlem Globetrotters are coming with an all-new tour. Ankle-breaking moves, rim-rattling dunks. This is the team everyone can cheer for. Don't miss the Globetrotters in Asheville on March 31st. Go to HarlemGlobetrotters.com.
Registration is now open for the 14th annual Black Mountain Greenway Challenge. This 5K and 10K run takes place April 9th and is the major fundraising event for the Black Mountain Greenways and Trails Committee. This year's fun and beautiful course starts at the Black Mountain Recreation and Parks building and highlights the Oaks Trail, the Community Garden Greenway, and Pathways in Veterans Park. Packet pickup and post-race awards will be held at the WNC Outdoor Collective. Register at runsignup.com/Black Mountain Greenway Challenge. Proudly sponsored by iHeartMedia Asheville.
Hi, my name is Takia, and a little thing that I love about the Smokehouse barbecue bacon sandwich is when I take a bite, it's the perfect blend from the bacon to the cheese. It's perfection.
Hey, I'm Katora, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A mac and cheese is it kind of melts in your mouth, so you know it's creamy, cheesy, and delicious. This gooey mac makes me cheese every time.
Order dinner delivered on the Chick-fil-A app today. Delivery fee and other restrictions apply. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Hey guys, I'm Ziggy, your local Philly girl, owner of Ziggy's Bakery and Deli. I've created a traditional northern deli with only the most authentic cheesesteaks outside of Philadelphia, served with provolone, white American, or Cheese Whiz. Our other classic deli sandwiches are made with the best quality meats and cheeses, available sliced by the pound. Join us for breakfast for house-made bagels with our custom cream cheeses. Or for something heartier, try a pork roll, egg and cheese, or house-cured lox. Ziggy's Bakery and Deli, in the corner of Asheville Commons, 1550 Hendersonville Road, open 8 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday.
Coffee's for closers only. Get them the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power. That watch costs more than your car. Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
It just keeps happening.
Oh, no.
It just keeps happening. My Nuggets covering for 47 minutes, and then you give the backdoor cover with 30 seconds to go. 1-3 last night. It has not been a great week. Try to get back to our winning ways tonight with 4 picks in the NBA. First, the Milwaukee Bucks are a 2-point dog tonight at Brooklyn. I do not understand what it is that Vegas sees in the Brooklyn Nets, but I don't see it. The Milwaukee Bucks are the best team in the East. And to me, it's not all that close. They're built perfectly to deal with this Brooklyn team. I don't care where this game is. I don't buy Brooklyn. I don't trust Brooklyn any more than I trust gas station sushi. Give me the Bucks plus the 2. Next, the Cleveland Cavaliers are a 6-point dog tonight at the Atlanta Hawks. I understand that Cleveland is killed up front. They have not looked particularly good. This Atlanta team is bad. Bad. And Trae Young is going to have to defend Darius Garland, and I don't think he can do it. I'm not going to say Cleveland wins this game. They might. I'm not confident enough to give you money line, but I will absolutely give me the Cavaliers plus the 6. Finally, the Chicago Bulls are a 2-point favorite tonight against the LA Clippers. Over-under is 221.5. I think Vegas saw everything they needed to see in LA. I get that Utah folded like a deck chair and allowed them to come back. This Clippers team's not good, whether it's with Paul George or without. This line doesn't make any sense. This Bulls team is better, and they're hard to defend. Give me the Bulls minus the 2, over 221.5.
Go and do likewise, gents. The money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. You don't, I got no sympathy for you.
And you can take those helpful hints over to betus.com. Use the promo code Sportsocracy, and when you make your deposit with our promo code, they will give you a 125% deposit bonus on whatever you put in, up to $2,500. So those lovely picks that Jeremy just gave you, also the plus 500 for the LA Rams to win the NFC,
which is dumbfounding. That's a long play. You're looking at 10 months before you cash that in. But if you've got
get it in now.
If you've got a spare couple bills laying around that you could throw at that, well, you're going to multiply it by 5 in February.
Right. All those wagers to betus.com. Again, don't forget the promo code Sportsocracy. I have always had a bad relationship with food. I know how much we love food as big guys, Jeremy. We love to, pig out and just indulge ourselves. It's the one thing that has gotten us in the situation that we're in. Being overweight, being unhealthy, and PhD weight loss is helping us bridge those gaps. They have all these foods that I love to keep me from doing things I'm not supposed to do. They have puddings, they have jellos, they have these candy bars that are the savior of the day. Like Jeremy and I look forward to every afternoon during this show having our afternoon candy bar. It's a healthy candy bar, and they are wonderful. And it soothes that sweet tooth that I've always struggled with.
Mine is coming in about 2 minutes when we go to the commercial break. I have had issues sleeping for the vast majority of my adult life, and it's always because I've been so heavy. Thanks to PhD, a lot of those problems have been mitigated. I'm sleeping better, I feel better, and frankly, I look better. Unlike Tank, I'm not wearing somebody else's pants, wearing some I bought for myself, but the number on the waistband is much shorter than it used to be.
One of the greatest things that I have learned since being on the PhD program is Dr. Ashley Lucas told me that, we know you love the bad food, But has that bad food ever done anything good for you? And the answer is no. It's what made me overweight, and with PhD weight loss, I have lost in just over 4 months 53 pounds. Great success on this program. Go to myphdweightloss.com. That's myphdweightloss.com. Tar Heel time, live from New Orleans with Jones Angell, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, coming up next on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, the big weather has pushed on east of Asheville, and now a cold front zips on in here with winds becoming west and northwest. Our low tonight down to 40 degrees. Humidity drops off big time into Friday. Partly cloudy, cooler for Friday and for early April. High temps in the mid-50s on Friday, low Friday night near freezing, and then partly cloudy Saturday with a high of 60. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by the maker of NexGard Afoxolaner.
NexGard Afoxolaner is monthly flea and tick protection that's #1 vet recommended and #1 dog preferred. Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Ask your vet or visit nextguardfordogs.com to learn more.
Sign up for Lowe's MVP's Pros Awards and Partnership Program and get exclusive rewards to help level up your business. Program subject to terms and conditions, valid through 12/31/22. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty terms, subject to change.
Professional women's tennis is coming back to Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville, April 15th and 16th. Tickets are on sale now at USTA.com/BJKC. Get your tickets and see Team USA women's tennis in this exciting match, April 15th and 16th.
Calling all jokesters, April Fools, and all-around punny people. This week on the free iHeartRadio app, the joke's on you. No, literally, we're handing you the mic to tell us your favorite joke. Just open the free iHeart app and tap 24/7 Comedy Radio. When you're ready for the spotlight, tap the mic, record your joke, and send it. Then listen to Hear Yourself on 24/7 Comedy Radio all day Friday. Plus, we've got thousands of Laugh Out Loud comedy podcasts for you to binge anytime, anywhere. Stop laughing. That was serious.
iHeartRadio.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
Sports Center. I'm Doug Brown with breaking news. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports linebacker Bobby Wagner will sign a 5-year, $50 million contract with the Rams. The Seahawks cut Wagner 3 weeks ago in a salary cap move. New Buccaneers head coach Todd Bowles meets the media and pays tribute to the man he's replacing, his former boss, Bruce Arians.
He will probably be, not probably, definitely is the most influential coaching figure, father figure, speak that I've ever had in my life in this league. So as long as I shall live or continue to be in this league.
Bowles moves up from defensive coordinator after Arians moves into the front office. For the third year in a row, there will be runners at second base when MLB games reach extra innings. In a rules package finalized today, doubleheaders will go back to 9-inning games. They had been 7 innings the last 2 years. Wisconsin sophomore Johnny Davis tells ESPN's Malika Andrews on NBA Today he'll hire an agent and enter the draft. Davis was the Big Ten Player of the Year, averaging 19 points and 8 rebounds a game.
The new Venture X card from Capital One. Earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars and 5x miles on flights when you book through Capital One Travel, plus 2x miles on all other purchases. Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy, presented by Ingles Supermarkets.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. And, of course, you can see us live on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com. Click on that live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well so you can get all of the alerts when our extra content comes out or when we do live broadcasts of things like, the NFL Draft. We've got a huge game coming up in New Orleans on Saturday. You may have heard about it once or twice. North Carolina taking on Duke. in the Final Four. We'll have the coverage for it right here on ESPN Asheville for you on Saturday night. And the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, Jones Angell, joins us for another Tar Heel time. And I know that we all thought this was a possibility, but Jones, really be honest, did you ever think that this was going to happen? That we would see these two teams face off in the NCAA tournament?
Well, I think eventually, Tank, is probably just going to happen, right? I mean, these two teams are too good and go to too many Final Fours to not have the opportunity to eventually see one another. I mean, I do think just statistically it's crazy that they have not played one another before. And, earlier in the bracket it makes sense because there's the bracketing guidelines that keep teams from the same conference away from each other as long as possible. And, normally Carolina's a little bit of a lower seed this year, but normally, you're talking about teams that are normally number 1, number 2 type of seeds in the tournament. So it makes sense that they would be away from each other in the bracket. But the Final Four aspect of it, I do think is wild. I mean, the fact that the Heels have been to 21 of them, Duke's been to 17. So you're looking at 38 combined Final Fours. And this is the first time they've ever played, as we know, and it's only the second time they've ever been to the same Final Four. And so the fact that it just hasn't happened more often is statistically an anomaly. But none of that matters. Coming up on Saturday, they'll both be excited to play and both with a chance to move on to the national championship game.
Yeah, and the fact that we get this for a third time this season, it's not that rare because we see this a lot. You play twice in a regular season, match up usually somewhere around the championship of the ACC tournament. But we've never seen it in the NCAA tournament, and you've got all of these stories just going around about how big this game is. I mean, each and every alumni of the school is talking about it. You've got country megastars canceling concerts because they want to see the game. It's taken on a life of its own.
It has, but I think what's interesting is that the Carolina-Duke angle to it really is on the outside. I don't think either one of these teams, while they're certainly aware and, it may add a little extra juice to it, that is not the main storyline for Hubert Davis. I'm guessing not for Mike Krzyzewski and not for the players of the two teams. They are much more concerned with the fact that they are playing in the national semifinals and that they have a chance to go on to play for the national championship. That's the number one story. That's the headliner for them. And again, I certainly understand and recognize the Carolina-Duke angle from the media and from fans, and all that makes total sense. But I don't think any of that, well, I shouldn't say any, I don't think that matters very much when it comes to the two teams as far as their preparation and getting ready to go on Saturday.
I was going to say, how many former players have you talked to about how much this rivalry means and the fact that this is, this much on the line? It's even more.
Not
now.
Very many. And again, I just don't think.
Right.
I mean, Carolina Duke's a big deal, but you know what else is a big deal? Playing in the Final Four.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, that's the thing. And yes, Carolina Duke is a real rivalry, and it does matter. And every year they're intense games, and people step up, and there's memorable moments and shots and chapters to this story. And there have been some recently, and all of that is real. And again, there is some extra juice to it from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
But Carolina could be playing Gonzaga or Arizona or Kansas or Villanova or whoever. What matters is the Tar Heels are playing in the Final Four. And that is the main story, I think, for anybody around Carolina basketball.
And it is a place that, honestly, we didn't expect this team to be. After the way the season rolled on, late in the season, you and I, we talked about the hot streak that we got on after the embarrassing loss to Pittsburgh at home. And then they go on the run and they beat Duke, slipped up in the ACC tournament. But since the NCAA tournament has started, and he had the 30-point win over Marquette, the craziness that was the Baylor game, and UCLA was tough, and then St. Peter's took care of business there, and now you're in the Final Four where I don't think too many people expected Hubert Davis to be able to pull this thing together the way the season started and losing to the teams at the top of the at the top of the rankings like we did. I think it's one of the greatest coaching jobs we've ever seen.
Done a bunch of these interviews kind of leading up to, or this week and leading up to the game on Saturday. And you know this from following Carolina closely, but a lot of the questions have been, what was the turning point? What moment? What game? And I just don't think there was a specific moment or game. There were certainly some benchmarks throughout the year that were important, whether it was those back-to-back games against Miami and Wake Forest when Carolina played so poorly on the road in those back-to-back games and bounced back from that. You mentioned the Pittsburgh game, certainly a relevant game, I think, in the story of this season for the Tar Heels. The win at Virginia Tech the very next weekend after that Pitt loss was big. The Syracuse game at home is one that the players have referenced a few times that they felt like was really important to get a key win and execute down the stretch. Certainly we understand how impactful the win in Cameron was. So, I think there were all these moments throughout the year that are part of the story of Carolina getting to this point. But it's not like it was one way on a Tuesday and then on a Wednesday it was something different. It was a slow build throughout this year for Carolina to get to this point. And I don't think it's hyperbole to say that Carolina is playing as well as any team in this NCAA tournament. Are the Tar Heels the most talented team at the Final Four? No. But I don't think there is much question that they are playing at as high a level as anybody else. And they'll need to, of course, on Saturday. Duke's really, really good. We know that. The Tar Heels have seen them twice, and they've both been Duke has played well in both those games. Carolina was a little better in the second one. So the Heels will need to find that same level of play to have an opportunity to win coming up on Saturday night.
To me, the turning point had to be when the offense started running through R.J. Davis more. When did that take place?
Part of it, and RJ's made some really good decisions with the basketball in his hands. I think that's freed Caleb Love up a little bit as well off the ball, and that's not to say that Caleb doesn't have the ball in his hands some, because of course he still does. But I think R.J. Davis has done a really good job finding that balance of when to facilitate and when to shoot. And that game in Cameron, the Baylor game, he was excellent in those games, orchestrating things and guiding the team. But he's been really smart with the basketball too. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, Tank, but he's over 20 assists in the NCAA tournament and below 10 turnovers in the 4 games combined. And so, he's really done a nice job in every aspect of what you want that lead guard to do. And Carolina will need him to play well and everybody to play well coming up.
Yeah, it has been a slow progression. And you and I have talked several times about how you look at this team and you go, these guys have talent. Individually, you can look at all of them and go, point out the greatness in all of them. But it was the putting it together and the intensity that this team has been playing with, especially in the NCAA tournament, is, it puts them, no doubt, to me, as it would not be surprising to see them cut down the nets. Let me put it that way.
Well, Hubert Davis has used the term that he feels like his team is as healthy and together as it has been all season long. We've heard him say that now for the last 6 weeks or so. And I think you have seen that play out on the court. And you talked about the individual skill set. There's no doubt that the Tar Heels have some individually talented guys. But what I think has made them better, and to your point, is that they each understand what their role is, and they have accepted that role and how it helps the team in total be better. And so when they embrace those individual things that they can do that helps the team be better, I think that's when you have really seen this group take a step forward. Armando Bacot met with the media a little while ago here in New Orleans, and he talked about how at some point, as the season moved along, that you started to see guys not just to try to defend their man, but to defend as a team. You saw guys that were, making that extra pass to instead of taking a good shot, get a great shot. And I think you have seen that particularly, the last few weeks of the regular season and then through this postseason run, is that Carolina is not doing good enough. They're taking that next step to really be great.
Brady Manick, Armando Bacot, Caleb Love, R.J. Davis. That is the meat of the scoring that happens. You throw in Leaky Black and, the guys that have done a great job coming off of the bench, but this is a very short rotation that Hubert Davis has been working with. I mean, you go back to that the win at Cameron where nobody but the starters played the entire second half of that game. Do you think that is going to be a major challenge coming up in this Final Four? We've already done it to get past Duke, but if you have to take on Kansas at the next stage or Villanova, either one.
Well, why would the Tar Heels change that? I mean, they're not going to all of a sudden play 11 dudes in this game. I mean,
I'm not saying change the strategy. I'm saying, do you think that that's going to be a hamper?
And I think too, Tank, part of what we just talked about as far as guys better understanding their role and understanding how it all fits in, I think that also comes with the fact that there are the guys who are playing the most are out there together a lot. And so that cohesion is very evident, and that they are out there on the floor. So they have logged a ton of minutes together. And so they can anticipate where each other's going to be and how each other can best be successful, et cetera. And so, you've got the core five, of course, and then, Hubert Davis and his staff have done a good job, I think, kind of game by game, figuring out which player or two off the bench can help you the most in that particular game, whether it is Dontre Styles or Puff Johnson or Justin McCoy or Kerwin Walton or whoever it might be. There feels like it really relies on what is happening in the individual game and whose skill set both best matches what is needed that particular day for Carolina. So I would be stunned if that changed in any way for the Tar Heels, and I don't think it will be any more of a challenge than it has been at any point this season.
Fair enough. Hubert Davis has been talked about, in the discussion of Coach of the Year in college basketball, obviously, leading his alma mater to a Final Four, playing in the Final Four as well with the team. I think he's only the second guy in NCAA history to be able to do that, to coach and to play for the same school in the Final Four. And the first coach since Bill Guthridge to get a team to the Final Four in his first year. As improbable of a run as this has been, I mean, it doesn't feel like there can be any doubters left as to whether the right choice was made last year when Roy Williams, shockingly enough, decided to call it quits.
Well, I think more than silencing doubters or changing people's minds or something like that, Tank, I think it's much more that what Hubert Davis and his staff have been able to do is more just kind of validating the choice and not just validation, but building up that equity with Carolina fans, because now you have the basis now to say, oh, well, yeah, maybe Coach Davis and Coach Lebo and Coach Frederick and Coach May, maybe they do know what they're doing. And they were the ones who got this group to go into Cameron and get the win. They were the ones that led them to the Final Four. So, I mean, now it's natural to have some questions, I think, when you have change, particularly monumental change like Carolina did going from Roy Williams. But I think also now some of that equity, some of that cachet has been built up from Hubert Davis and his staff. And so, look, no head coach is ever going to not get questioned or people wonder why things happen. I mean, that's just the nature of athletics. But I think if there still is somebody who is curious about the selection or the direction that Carolina is going, my guess is now at least they've got some evidence that can show you why the Heels made that choice.
Yeah, I think you got all the evidence that you need. North Carolina against Duke, the rivalry, it just means more in this game. I've seen a lot of people talking about, I never really wanted to see this happen. I don't know where those people are coming from, because I've always wanted to see this happen. I know that the bragging rights forever are going to be on the line in this rivalry when it comes to fans. But I think, as you said, it's almost a statistical anomaly that they haven't matched up or met up in the NCAA tournament yet. But I think we all wanted to see it get to this level, the biggest stage possible.
Well, I think the thing about Carolina Duke, Tank, is that there's always going to be another one too, right?
Oh, yeah.
This is a rivalry. What makes it so good is that it is so consistent. And so, yes, whichever team is able to win on Saturday is going to feel great, and that's going to be a great win for them, and it'll be a difficult loss for whichever team comes up on the short end. But it's also not the end of Carolina Duke. It'll happen again twice at least next season. and there'll be another step forward. And so I think if anybody likes college basketball, they understand what this rivalry is about. They understand how consistently excellent these two teams are. And I think that's part of what makes it so special.
Hopefully we can leave New Orleans with a win over the Duke Blue Devils, and the exclamation point will just be put on Coach K's portion of this rivalry for the Tar, and it will be one way or the other, whether they win or whether we win. It's the exclamation point is going to happen, and now it's just the anticipation of waiting for it to happen. And I'm jealous that you get a front row seat.
This is the end, one way or the other. I guess we'll find out on Saturday.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm just jealous that you get a front row seat for the action, and we'll hear all the coverage right here on ESPN Asheville.
Yep, we'll be there 7:30. Our network start on Saturday night, and looking forward to being in the Superdome. We've really been lucky to be with the Tar Heels for the Final Four in 16 and 17, and excited to bring you coverage of it again coming up on Saturday night.
All right, Jones Angell, the voice of the North Carolina Tar Heels, joining us as always here on ESPN Asheville. Again, have a great time, Jones, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, Tank. Thanks so much.
You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, the big weather has pushed on east of Asheville, and now a cold front zips on in here with winds becoming west and northwest. Our low tonight down to 40 degrees. Humidity drops off big time into Friday. Partly cloudy, cooler for Friday and for early April. High temps in the mid-50s on Friday, low Friday night near freezing, and then partly cloudy Saturday with a high of 60. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is stop and go 26 westbound between Chimney Rock Road and Long Shoals Road. 26 on the eastbound side, stop and go between Brevard Road and Long Shoals Road. 240 westbound, delays between Charlotte Street and Monfort Avenue. Haywood County, 40 westbound, stop and go between Fines Creek Road and Harmondin Road. Construction remains in the area. Sweeten Creek Road, north and southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road, delays. Hendersonville Road, northbound, approaching Mills Gap Road to Overlook Road is slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Mucinex 12-Hour. Mucinex Extended Release Bilayer tablets allow for immediate and extended release, relieving chest congestion for 12 hours. Plus, Mucinex is eligible for any leftover HSA, FSA funds. Look for Mucinex, the #1 OTC brand doctors trust. Available at Target.
The Food City Dirt Race is back at Bristol in 2022. And this time, it's a night race. You remember the last night races at Bristol in September, right? It's the Food City Dirt Race, 7 p.m. on Easter Sunday, April 17th. Save big by grabbing a weekend package today at BristolMotorspeedway.com. Remember, this isn't just any dirt race. It's a dirt race at Bristol, baby.
It's Bristol, baby! Try great tasting Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and nutrients to support immune health. Those who tried Ensure Max Protein reported feeling more energy in just 2 weeks. For more information, including consumer survey details, please visit Ensure.com.
Your happiest spring starts with Lowe's, and it all starts with the beautiful green lawn. Keep it looking sharp and save $50 on the Cobalt 40-volt self-propelled mower. Was $399, now just $349. And give the rest of your yard a healthy boost with a bag of our premium mulch at the everyday low price of $368. Create a season full of happiness at Lowe's. Home to any budget, home to any possibility. Selection varies by location. While supplies last, about 3/31 through 4/6. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. U.S. only.
Hi, my name is Takia, and a little thing that I love about the Smokehouse barbecue bacon sandwich is when I take a bite, it's the perfect blend from the bacon to the cheese. It's perfection.
Hey, I'm Katora, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A mac and cheese is it kind of melts in your mouth, so you know it's creamy, cheesy, and delicious. This gooey mac makes me cheese every time.
Order dinner delivered on the Chick-fil-A app today. Delivery fee and other restrictions apply. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Hey guys, I'm Ziggy, your local Philly girl, owner of Ziggy's Bakery and Deli. I've created a traditional northern deli with only the most authentic cheesesteaks outside of Philadelphia, served with provolone, white American, or Cheese Whiz. Our other classic deli sandwiches are made with the best quality meats and cheeses, available sliced by the pound. Join us for breakfast for house-made bagels with our custom cream cheeses. Or for something heartier, try a pork roll, egg, and cheese or house-cured lox. Ziggy's Bakery and Deli, in the corner of Asheville Commons, 1550 Hendersonville Road, open 8 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy, and I can't wait. I'm just so jazzed about UNC and Duke coming up in the Final Four on Saturday night. I don't understand it. Somebody sent me earlier today, I've seen this meme going around of, everybody else wants to see this, but true Tar Heel fans and true Duke Blue Devil fans never wanted to see us meet up in the tournament. And I think that's the only thing I've ever wanted.
Well, the bigger thing is that it's going to take an aggressive amount of time off of your life.
And there's no doubt, but what games don't? What Duke Carolina games don't take that much off of your life? I mean, okay, so I'll give you the one earlier this year that was a 20-point game and it never was close. But more often than not, when it's a competitive game, you live and die by every possession.
Okay, I'm really glad you said that, because before we get into weird news, I have to disclose something that I've been thinking this for a year since we've been doing this ESPN radio show.
Okay.
There is absolutely nothing that happens in sports now that moves me that much as a fan. And there is a blessing and a curse to that.
Mm-hmm.
The blessing is that I can watch this Duke-Carolina game. No matter what happens, I'm happy. Okay. Whether Duke wins, Carolina wins, there is nothing that can happen that I'm not going to be good with. Because one way or the other, either Carolina is going to end Krzyzewski's career, and we can talk about that on Monday, which will be a grand old time.
Right.
Or Krzyzewski will be in the national title game for his walk-off game. It increases the enjoyment for me. But I also don't have anything left that really – I don't get that as a fan anymore. I mean, I'm a Jets fan, don't get me wrong.
Right.
And I still love my Jets. I still love Florida State. It's not even that. I don't know that I can ever get that part of my fandom back.
Okay.
I've worked so hard to be impartial because I'm not going to lie. When we first started doing this, my hatred of New England and Miami and the Miami Hurricanes and all that, it was very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked very hard to get rid of that. The only problem is that it made me not love my teams as much as I used to.
Right.
So now I just love interesting. Just be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about the St. Peter's Peacocks. I want this. Give me this all the time.
Right. I think people forget too. All the hype around Duke, Carolina. There's another game that's going to be pretty good as well. That Kansas-Villanova game's got the potential to be a really good one.
And I'm going to give my picks tomorrow.
Yep.
So tomorrow is going to be a very Final Four-centric show, and my picks will be what if you love the college football picks that I do, we're going to have one last hurrah of that before we put it in mothballs until the fall.
Love that.
Oh yeah, I'm picking it all. I'm picking both games and then picking the what I have the national title game as.
Okay.
And then hopefully I don't have to do that again Monday because I'm so wrong. This week is making me think that's entirely possible. It's weird for me to sit back and watch you because you've been on pins and needles all week.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime this comes up, you start getting fidgety.
I just dance.
I don't have that anymore.
And I feel sorry for you for that.
I don't think you should. Because
why?
Now I enjoy everything. You were asking me about rivalry, and that's what got me started thinking about this. You asked what is the best rivalry in sports, and I got to 50 of them that I just thoroughly enjoy. Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Excellent.
I see that. I think the same way you see this because I have no rooting interest in anything.
Okay.
I just want things to be good. Just be good and interesting and entertaining. That's all I care about.
I think that is the biggest rivalry in the NFL.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
But when it comes to all sports, I still think this one takes the cake.
And I would put a lot in the same vein. Now, collegiately, this is the only college basketball matchup that could move you like this. There's nothing in the stratosphere. It's been interesting for me to sit back and go, I don't actually care who wins this. I have hated Duke as a North Carolina resident because you have to pick a side. In spite of the fact that, I'm a Florida State fan, so we're secondary rivals of all the teams in the state, but you have to have an allegiance, whether it's NC State, Duke, North Carolina. The people that watch us online that are not in the state, I don't think they fully understand that.
Right.
No matter who you are, there is one that you lean to. You may not be a fan, but when you watch them, that's who I'm rooting for. This is the first time in this rivalry that I can genuinely say I do not care.
And
I just want it to be good. I want somebody to have the ball in their hand with 20 seconds to go and a 2-point lead, or a 1-point lead would be better because then any basket ends this.
Right.
That's what I want. Just don't be a blowout. Be good, be fun, be 40 good minutes of basketball, and I'll be happy.
I don't feel like there's much of a chance of that happening. Obviously there is. There can be nights where guys' just shots are not falling and it can get out of hand. And if that does happen, I don't like that to be on the side of my North Carolina Tar Heels. But I think with everything put into it, and somebody mentioned it in the comments of it was Adam Black. Adam Black said, listen to Jones Angell with the coach speak. He is very good at the coach speak.
Oh, 100%.
Like trying to keep it as if this doesn't matter more. Of course, winning the Final Four or winning in the Final Four is the biggest deal of any of these guys' careers. But the fact that it's Duke, you can't get away from that. I've always hated the coach speak around rivalry games. We're just going in here playing like it's just another day. Baloney. There's no shot. You cannot play down the greatest rivalries in sports. You can't go into the Michigan-Ohio State football game and tell me that doesn't matter. Of course it matters. I don't care if you're playing it in the Big House or if you're playing it at the Horseshoe. Regardless of where you are, it just means more. This game means more than any other game in the entire history of this rivalry. We've faced off each other for ACC championships in the tournaments before. And I would say even go back to the Vic Bubas days. Back in the 1960s between these two teams. Duke was one of the best teams in the country. Carolina's one of the best teams in the country. Larry Brown and Art Heyman were throwing haymakers at each other in 1964 or whatever that was. We have always hated each other. You can't tell me that this is not different.
It is different. There's no doubt it is different. And the point that I was trying to prove is that I feel like I get kind of dinged because I don't have anything that revs me up to the point this is going to rev you up.
Back in the 90s when it was Florida State and Miami and you were two of the greatest college football programs to exist.
I still thoroughly enjoy beating Miami.
And I'm sure you do.
It just doesn't ruin my day anymore. Now, as long as I see interesting, and I care as much about a Duke-Carolina basketball game that has absolutely nothing to do with me, Michigan State, Ohio State, down the line. And there's a blessing and a curse to that. And the more I think about it, the more I'm okay with it. It's been a weird realization this week, though. I grew up in a Carolina family, so for me, Duke was always Duke bad.
Right.
And now I'm sitting here like, I don't know that I care.
I do. I care a lot. And, it's going to be a great story. If it goes against the Tar Heels, it's going to be a great story. Coach K with the magical run through the NCAA tournament to send him off into the sunset. I mean, I'm going to be sick to my stomach to watch it happen, but I'm going to be locked into every second of it. And don't think there's a second of that national championship game, should it end up being Duke against Kansas, that I'm not going to be calling up Roy Williams' house to see if I can find me a Jayhawk sweater to wear. Because anybody versus Duke, don't care. There's obviously a way that this can go that is going to make me extremely happy, but there's also a way that's going to make me extremely sad, and that's going to be if the magic happens for Coach K.
And for me, I'm going to be happy either way, so long as it's close.
That's weird.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
Okay, weird story of the day coming to us from East Texas in a place called New Boston. No, there was a Boston in Texas, but apparently there's a New Boston.
I already know this story because I almost pulled this one myself.
Did you really?
I
did. So David McMichael, he's a man that is under arrest in Texas, and a neighbor called the cops to do a wellness check at his house on David McMichael's son. The weird thing is, when the police showed up and they said, "Do you know why we're here?" His answer was something that you don't normally expect. And I'm sure
the bunny back in the box.
There is no putting this bunny back in the box. Once you say this to a police officer, the chances of you ending this day in a good way, nil. They use a soccer term for you. It is not going to be a good day. Because when they said, "Do you know why we're here?" he said, "Well, it may have something to do with the body in the kitchen." Okay. Well, no, that's not why we were here, but we're interested now. You have piqued my interest, sir. Please show me more. He takes them into the house, and there in the kitchen, not being hidden, not in a freezer, just kind of, I don't know if it was propped up at the dinner table like things are just normal, was the skeletal remains of his son, who had been dead for 4 years.
Why do people do weird things with people that are past, present?
Now, none of the details that I have seen on this story tell us, like, how old this son was. Like, is it a grown guy who died in his 30s and he just couldn't deal with the pain, or was it like a kid? Or we don't know any of that. The details are very scant at this point, other than the skeletal remains had to be sent away to be verified that this actually is the guy's son. It could be some other random person. I mean, if you're willing to admit that I've been holding on to my son's dead body for 4 years and it's been rotting in my kitchen, that's the thing that I just can't wrap my head around.
It dumbfounds me. And we see stories, literally.
And none of it.
The places where we pull these stories, it is shocking how often there are stories of people doing weird things with people who have passed on.
Right. I just don't get, like, how are you able to live with that? Of course, he has been arrested and been charged with abusing a corpse. And they'll do all the forensics to find out exactly who these remains belong to. But yeah, that's definitely not going to end up well if cops come to your door and you say, "Oh yeah, you're probably here about the body. You just come on back." Like it's a used car you've been selling. Yeah, just come back and check it out.
Something that's always really interested me are the dumb things that people will buy. I'm sure a lot of you know about Dyson. It's a company that makes plenty of products, and most of them suck.
Is that related to Dylon?
Vacuum cleaners?
Yeah.
Suck? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, they have created a new invention. I don't know if I'm the only one that this drives crazy, but the little AirPod earbuds, it drives me absolutely insane to see those in people's ears just walking around living their life. You don't have to have a theme song to your life, okay? Just walk around. Hear the world. You don't need to be listening to music at all times. Well, Dyson has now taken this one step further. They put out it's a concept of their new air purification system. It's mobile because it's a mask that you put on your face and it has headphones on it. It looks like the Bane mask. And apparently this is something that you wear around to purify the air around you. And you can listen to music while you do this.
Which one of these tubes do you smell through?
I don't. Who would buy this?
I don't know.
They apparently tested this in Beijing, which is a very smoggy place.
Mm-hmm.
I get that, but this is the most ridiculous-looking contraption I've ever seen. They also released the concepts that led to this, and one of them looks like the headset that NASCAR crew chiefs use to talk to the driver.
Nice.
I don't feel like this is a problem that we really have. And all right, let's say we did. Why does it have to have music with it? Why does everything have headphones or a speaker? Or can you not do anything in your life where you are not entertained for more than 10 seconds?
Nope. Can't do it. I got to be able to listen to the Sportsocracy podcast while I'm roaming the streets.
And I guarantee you somebody's first question is, does it have Bluetooth?
Oh, absolutely. Because that's going to be annoying. I mean, if it doesn't have Bluetooth, then what? Then you got to use one ear in, and like I wear my headphones. You got to have one earbud in here for your Bluetooth, and then you got to have the other one plugged in for your music mask. Remember when we started doing the mask thing, and they were like, you got to start wearing masks and all of that, and we were like, well, is this the future now? Are we going to have to go down this path every time there's there's a new virus or something? We're just mask people now.
No, we're not.
I mean, I've been on that side of it since the start, but I mean, there are other cultures, other countries that go through this routinely, like you said in Beijing? You were talking about where
that's where this was. Yeah. They tested this.
Well, they wear them all the time. Like, it seems like every other year there's a story that you'll see on the nightly news of there's a new something going on over SARS or bird flu or whatever.
I'm glad you mentioned this because there's been something that I've been wanting to say, and this happened to me earlier this week.
Okay.
We're officially back to the point of if you wear a mask into a bank and you're standing behind me, don't be shocked when I act weird.
No, you're doing crimes.
Yeah, because I'm now back to officially suspicious of someone that is covering their face in a bank.
Absolutely.
I had a very odd interaction with a person at a bank close to where we're sitting right now.
Do tell.
Well, first of all, they were standing too close to me.
Don't do that.
Look, I am a bubble person. All right, so if I can extend my rather long arms and touch you, you are too close to me. Shake your hand, totally. I might even give you the back pat, weird halfway dude hug thing. But if you're standing directly behind me wearing a mask in a bank, I'm going to get weird. That's just the way it is because I have no idea what you're getting ready to do next.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm already running it through in my head going, I don't think I can handle this.
Oh, well, Matthew Hoffman in the comments says his gas station got robbed today because of that.
We are back to the point of it is weird to cover your face in public.
Yes,
If
agreed.
you want to do it, that's fine. Just maybe wear a shirt or something that says not doing crimes.
Yeah, if you're still wearing the mask, I'm going to assume you're doing crimes.
I am to that point, especially if you stand eerily close to me.
Don't do
because
that.
if you're wearing the mask standing eerily close to me, then I feel like the mask is not doing what you're intending on the mask to do.
Yeah, you're just being inconsiderate.
This
at
is
that point.
Honestly, this is
that's
this
weird.
is a rant of mine.
The reason that you were wearing the mask is to be considerate of others, but standing so close to someone is extremely inconsiderate, not just in a pandemic, but in regular times.
Oh, by the way, and this happened for I feel like the 11 billionth time. And while we're airing grievances for the third Seinfeld reference of the show, don't touch my hair if I don't know you. I have very long hair.
Does sex matter in this?
Nope.
If it's a male or a female?
Oh, that's not gender for future reference is the word that you're allowed to use.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting.
You know how I just said it was weird for people that were too close to me wearing masks? I've just felt the exact same way when you said that to me.
I apologize. I was not talking about an act. I was talking about the gender.
I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're man, woman, bird, squirrel, clown. I don't care. Do not touch my hair if I don't know you. It is very odd, and I do not know why so many people keep doing it.
Well, if you don't want it touched, cut it.
Not going to happen.
Because now when you wear it down, it looks like a big old fluffy bunny, and I can understand how some people would, it's weird. Don't do that, but I can also understand how someone would just go, it's soft. I want to touch it.
It is soft. It's very soft. But
just don't be weird.
Don't be weird.
Yeah, don't be weird around people.
Stole the line I was going to use. Just don't be weird.
Exactly. Don't be weird around people.
Weird. Stop crying and wrestle your father.
I mean, it's like social media has emboldened us to talk to each other any way we want to now. People feel emboldened to, throw the same kind of shade in person that they do on social media. And I'm starting to feel like that's also coming into physical interaction as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, especially when you see people like Will Smith just smacking the crap out of – I almost said a bad word.
I'm really glad you didn't. We talked about this earlier today.
We did. Just smacking the crap out of somebody that he doesn't like what they say. And now people are coming up to Jeremy just touching his hair. Weird. Stop that.
John DeLon in our YouTube comments asked, "Has Tank ever touched my hair?" Let me answer your question with a question. Is he still breathing? Then the answer to that is no.
Yeah. Do you want to die?
Do you want to end up on your back? Because that's how you end up on your back.
Yeah. Tyler Cunningham says it in the comments. I'm not responsible for my reflexes if you touch my hair.
The funny thing is I mentioned this one time as a joke, and it's happened about 6 times since. And now I keep my hair up, so it's not even like flowing. So now I don't look like the cowardly lion anymore. I was standing in line waiting for food, and I just felt somebody patting the back of my head.
No.
It's like, what
but now I have to know.
Doing?
Gender. What was it?
Female.
Okay. Well, I mean, at least I'll give you a little bit of a break on that one, because I mean, just imagining like some dude who looks like a defensive lineman patting her hair in the line is the most awkward thing I've ever thought of.
Let me make it weirder. If the first line out of their mouth was,
"Put the bunny back in the box."
I made it weirder.
He did.
I can always make it weirder.
Oh, wow. All right. There are trade rumors circulating around the NFL, and one team seems to be at the center of the biggest ones right now, and it is the Kansas City Chiefs. Tyreek Hill no longer in town. They're going to be looking to add to their wide receiver room, and there may be some wide receivers that are out there that you could get your hands on. So my question, Jeremy, is if you were the Kansas City Chiefs, who would be the wide receiver that you'd be going after right now?
Okay, so the answer to the question you just asked me and the question that I thought you were going to ask me are different.
Okay.
Do I think Kansas City is going to do anything here? The answer is a vehement no. They think they can replace Tyreek Hill with 5 different receivers. That is their goal. They want to have MVS, Juju Smith-Schuster, Mecole Hardman, and 2 rookies. That is the objective going into the draft.
Okay.
Now, if I was Kansas City, I'm not overly worried about it. They're not the team I'm looking at, and we've talked about this on the show. There are 3 receivers that I'm looking at going, you are officially on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
And it's A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel, and DK Metcalf. And none of those 3 teams seem inclined to give the deal. DK Metcalf is going to be the one that makes, let's say, a stink about it first.
Mm-hmm.
He has done a couple of, I'm going to say the same thing that I said about Brady with, if you aren't what was responsible for Bruce, you're making yourself look very guilty.
Right.
If DK Metcalf is not trying to push the Seattle Seahawks in a direction, you are certainly making it look that way. For me, if I'm a team with a young quarterback, and there are a slew of New England Patriots, New York Jets, San Francisco 49ers, I think, could use another receiver, Chicago Bears, you're going to have to tell me no. I'll give you whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
DK Metcalf, you want $30 million a year? In. If I'm any of the 4 teams, I don't care. I'm in. I feel the same way about Deebo, and I feel the same way about A.J. Brown.
Okay.
I do not care what it costs. But Kansas City, doing the legwork going into the mock draft, the most recent one, now every team by the end of the day will be out on YouTube. So no matter who your team is, you can go to youtube.com/the Sportsocracy and find your team's most recent mock draft from me. Kansas City, they plan on taking 2 in the first 2 days. There's going to be one in the first round. There'll be another one on day 2, and that's their plan. is that there's not going to be one dedicated receiver. It's just going to be death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you got the quarterback good enough to make that happen. So not a bad policy. But, there's also this team could be damn scary if they got DK Metcalf or were able to get, Brandon Cooks away from the Houston Texans. There's a lot of possibilities there, but I'm glad to hear that cooler heads are going to prevail. Jeremy's going to have 5 on it when we come back from the break. We will get you set for the action this evening, but first it is time for Something to Chew On with Caleb Peak. Yep, big game coming up this weekend.
All right, so the key for a North Carolina win against Duke, I'll let you put your coaching hat on now, is what Saturday?
Oh, it's easy. Ball's got to go in the dadgum basket.
No, I get that part.
Duke's got unbelievable talent, and when their shots are going in, they can beat anybody. We've got really good talent, and when our shots are going in, when Caleb and RJ are making some of those shots, Brady Manick's one of the greatest shooters I've ever seen. When he's making his shot, that gives Armando all that space inside. Now, Mark Williams is a big-time challenge for Armando, but to answer your question, I think the team that can stay focused and poised the longest.
Words of wisdom from one of the greatest to ever do it. This is Chew on That, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. I'm Caleb Peak, and that was 3-time national champion head coach Roy Williams making an appearance yesterday morning on the ACC Network's Packer and Durham. Earlier in that same 15-minute interview, Coach Williams harkened back to the 1991 Final Four. On the top side of the bracket, Mike Krzyzewski's Blue Devils, fresh off of the largest loss ever in a national title game, 30 points, only 1 year prior, would get their rematch against Jerry Tarkanian's UNLV Runnin' Rebels, the 1990 national champs. On the bottom side, the teacher versus the student. 1 seed North Carolina, led by the one and only Dean Smith, taking on the 3-seeded Kansas Jayhawks under the watchful eye of who else? Roy Williams. Gives you absolute chills just thinking about it, doesn't it? Long story short, Coach K exacted Duke's revenge against Tark the Shark, Larry Johnson and company, in an instant classic billed as one of the greatest upsets in Final Four history. His Tobacco Road counterpart in Dean Smith, who hadn't received a single technical foul through the entirety of the 80s, got hit with 2 in this particular game and found himself ejected with 35 seconds to play. Williams and Kansas prevailed, setting up the first collision between Mike Krzyzewski and Roy Williams on the grandest stage of them all. You may still hate Christian Laettner, but he was a major factor in Duke's 72-65 dismantling of the less explosive Jayhawks as Coach K claimed his first national title and the first ever in Durham in his 11th year at the helm. It was a who's who of Hall of Fame talent all assembled under one giant dome in Indianapolis. And yet, as much of a barometer that Final Four was for predicting what was to come, this one, scheduled for Saturday afternoon, feels even bigger. They're saying this is the greatest Duke-Carolina matchup ever. I need you to understand, one of the things in this world that I do best is playing devil's advocate. Ever since it became apparent that this could actually happen a week ago when North Carolina knocked off UCLA to set up the Elite Eight square-off with St. Peter's, I've tried to figure out a way to downplay this matchup, to make it seem a little more normal. Here's my conclusion. I can't. This is massive. 256 meetings all time between these two legendary programs, but never have they met in the NCAA tournament, much less the Final Four. One head coach in his 42nd year driving the train, grooming his successor, John Shire, for the top job. The other in his very first. And the stakes have never been higher. I mean, not only is this a game for a spot in the national title game, this is the renewal of a straight-up family feud. Why do I say that? Because before you can lead Carolina or Duke basketball, you must first be Carolina or Duke basketball. Hubert Davis was handpicked by Roy Williams himself to take over the Carolina way, and it was no accident. Davis played against Coach Williams in that same 1991 Final Four under Dean Smith. He sat under Williams as an assistant coach for almost a decade in Chapel Hill. And when Roy retired in disgust at the current state of the game with Walker Kessler's decision to transfer after 1 year, a major factor in Williams' departure, Hubert Davis was the one man who could cauterize and triage the gaping wound, all while leaving minimal scar tissue. For Duke, Having John Shire waiting in the wings is a nerve-settling factor for all members of Blue Devil Nation. Players, recruits, and fans alike. He's again a hand-chosen replacement to Coach K's legacy, and it's no secret that he'll be expected to stick around for another 40 years, just like Krzyzewski. Unheard of in these times. After a couple years of uncertainty, some insecurity around the futures of these iconic programs, it gives me great pleasure to say that the Tobacco Road rivalry ain't going anywhere. In fact, the uncertainty of the season that's been is what has led us to this moment. Duke blows out UNC in Chapel Hill, which was expected. But then Carolina blows out Duke at Cameron Indoor in what was expected to be a pretty little send-off for Coach K in his final home game. I hate to be cliche, I really do, but in this game, throw the records out. The regular season does not matter. What does matter, just like Roy said, is which team can control their emotions, and further, which team can score by committee. We know both defenses are rock solid. Armando Bacot just tied Tim Duncan's all-time ACC record for most double-doubles in a single season, with 29. The way he's rebounding and posting up, he'll likely break the record on Saturday. On the other side, Mark Williams is a legitimate counterpoint to Bacot's dominance. Caleb Love and Jeremy Roach will likely go shot for shot from downtown. Paolo Banchero versus Brady Manick? I salivate at the prospect. Whoever can get all the wheels turning at the right time will win this game. And on the other side waits either a high-powered Kansas offense that I picked in early March to win the title, or a deceptively stout Villanova squad that's quietly handled everything that's been thrown at them. Bill Self versus Jay Wright. K versus Davis. You're going to want to sit down for this, because here we are in 2022 talking about the iconic 1991 Final Four. And in, say, 2050, when the conversation turns back to the 2022 Final Four, you'll have plenty to contribute to that conversation, because this could be the greatest Final Four of all time. All I'm saying is, remember where you were on Saturday afternoon. I'm Caleb Peak. That's something to chew on.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic stop and go 26 westbound in the Naples area, approaching Hendersonville Road and continuing to Brevard Road. 26 on the eastbound side is stop and go between Brevard Road and the French Broad River. Haywood County 40 westbound stop and go between Fines Creek Road and Harmondin Road. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road northbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Near Fletcher, Hendersonville Road northbound stop and go approaching Fanning Bridge Road. Hendersonville Road northbound stop and go between Long Shoals Road and Mills Gap Road. An accident reported in this area. Sweeten Creek Road northbound stop and go approaching Mills Gap Road. I'm Lyndon Phil with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Mucinex 12-Hour. Mucinex DM's bilayer tablet allows for immediate and extended release, relieving both wet and dry coughs and loosening chest congestion for 12 hours. Mucinex is your trusted partner to help relieve cough and chest congestion and get your body back into control. Available at Walmart.
Professional women's tennis is coming back to Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville, April 15th and 16th. Tickets are on sale now at USTA.com/BJKC. Get your tickets and see Team USA women's tennis in this exciting match, April 15th and 16th.
Hi, my name is Takia, and a little thing that I love about the Smokehouse barbecue bacon sandwich is when I take a bite, it's the perfect blend from the bacon to the cheese. It's perfection.
Hey, I'm Katora, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A mac and cheese is it kind of melts in your mouth, so you know it's creamy, cheesy, and delicious. This gooey mac makes me cheese every time.
Order dinner delivered on the Chick-fil-A app today. Delivery fee and other restrictions apply. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
The underdog. The long shot. The nobody from nowhere, never gonna happen 100 to 1 shot. We know something about that. We're with you every step of the way.
This week at Ingles, select 6 to 12 count Laurel and Cuddly soft bath tissue, $3.98 each. Select sizes and varieties Kellogg's Frosted Flakes or Fruit Loop cereal, 2 for $4. And select sizes and varieties Tide laundry detergent, $12.98 each. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Well, we were close last night, and yet it was still a losing night. Try to get back to the winning ways. I got 3 picks for you. One of them I've already given you. I got 25 on it. The Chicago Bulls are a 2-point favorite tonight against the Los Angeles Clippers. I don't care if Paul George is there. I don't care if they weekend at Bernie's Kawhi Leonard. This team is not good, and I'm going to keep betting against them until Vegas figures it out. I got 25 on it. Chicago Bulls minus the 2. Next, I got 50 on it. The Philadelphia 76ers and the Detroit Pistons. The over-under is 223, and I am aggressively on the under. Philadelphia is too good, and Detroit is woefully bad. This game will not be close. The fourth quarter will be consisting of players that you forgot were in the NBA. I got 50 on it. Under 223, 76ers and the Pistons. Finally, I got 50 on it. Over 227 between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Utah Jazz. Eventually, Vegas is going to figure out that LA cannot play dead in the Western defensively. It does not matter how close these games are in the fourth quarter. They continuously are going over the number. This one's easy. I got 50 on it. Over 227 between the Lakers and the Utah Jazz.
Take those wagers to BetUs.com. BetUS.com. Use the promo code Sportsocracy and get a 125% deposit bonus on whatever you put in, up to $2,500. Tomorrow here in the Sportsocracy, we will be on the eve of the greatest basketball game we've ever seen. We will talk Carolina and Duke tomorrow with the only Eric Montross. We will also touch base with Nate Brown. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 3 in the Ingles Studio.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, the big weather has pushed on east of Asheville, and now a cold front zips on in here with winds becoming west and northwest. Our low tonight down to 40 degrees. Humidity drops off big time into Friday. Partly cloudy, cooler for Friday and for early April. High temps in the mid-50s on Friday, low Friday night near freezing, and then partly cloudy Saturday with a high of 60. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by the maker of NexGard Afoxolaner.
NexGard Afoxolaner is monthly flea and tick protection that's #1 vet recommended and #1 dog preferred. Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Ask your vet or visit nextguardfordogs.com to learn more.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic stop and go 26 westbound in the Naples area, approaching Hendersonville Road and continuing to Brevard Road. 26 on the eastbound side is stop and go between Brevard Road and the French Broad River. Haywood County 40 westbound stop and go between Fines Creek Road and